Welcome to Royal Legacy, where we will explore the rich athletic history and deep family connections of BYU sports. Join us as we honor the past, celebrate the present, and look forward to the future of the BYU Cougars. Here's your host, Lauren McClain.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Lauren McClain, and welcome to another episode of Royal Legacy, where we dive deep into the family connections of BYU sports. Today, I'm thrilled to have two incredibly talented siblings joining me, Harrison Taggart, a redshirt sophomore star linebacker for the BYU football team, and his sister, Madelynne Taggart, a standout hurdler for BYU track and field. You guys, thank you so much for being here with me.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
So how many interviews have you guys done together since you've been at BYU? Any?
First one?
Yeah, this is our first.
Yes. See, I love this because everything's going to be fresh and hopefully there's going to be some good stories that come out of this. All right, you both have mentioned how close you are to each other and your family. Harrison, what role did Maddie committing to BYU for track and field play in your decision to come to BYU?
It was a huge part of my decision. Not the whole part, but it was really interesting to see the timing because I was at Oregon, entered the portal, and then she's out of high school trying to figure out where she wants to go. And I'm like, oh, we could both go to BYU. And then it's like, well, I'm going to go. Like, are you going to go? And I'm like, I'll go. Now, yeah, here we are.
That's amazing. So, Maddie, what was your reaction when Harrison told you, like, okay, if you're going to BYU, I'll go to BYU?
I mean, I was shocked. I didn't think we would end up, like, both at the same university. So, I mean, it was really fun and, like, never thought we would both end up at BYU. So, yeah.
And what's crazy is, like, you're really close to the same age, right?
Yeah.
What's the age difference between the two of you?
We're 2 years in age, but, like, in grades, it's just 1 year apart. So.
Okay, that's incredible because then you really are, like, doing everything together, right?
Yeah.
Which is unique. So, Harrison, what does it mean to you to have your sister as a fellow collegiate athlete that understands the grind and the pressure that comes with being a collegiate athlete and a student athlete at that, like having to go to BYU for academics as well?
Transferring, I didn't really realize how hard the academics are here when I first got here. And this is all she knows, is this is how you do it, this is the way to do it. So, like, even last night, I have an anatomy test coming up, and she comes over, and she's helping me with anatomy. And, like, I don't know, it's interesting to pick her brain on what recovery stuff works for her, what prehab works for her, versus me, like, what I'm doing for my practices and what works for me, what I do to prep for games. And then, like, the mental side of things, it's just really interesting to kind of pick each other's brains from different sports, because mine's a team sport. Hers, yes, it is a team sport in track, but it's more like you're solo competing.
Right.
So yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah, do you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. I mean, he helps me all the time when I have questions about recovery because obviously we both get thrown different information. So It's been fun to bounce things off of each other and, like, just kind of help each other through everything. So.
You're like, but my coach said this.
Yeah.
Like, but why is yours saying that?
Yeah.
Maddie, how do you and Harrison support each other in your athletic journeys and just in life while you're here in Provo together?
I mean, we kind of just motivate each other. Like, sometimes when I'm being lazy, he'll call me out for my stuff. And when he needs help with drills and things like that, like, we're just kind of there for each other to help with whatever we need, you know, and kind of keep, like, each other accountable for our goals and, like, kind of just working for what we want.
That's super cool. I love that. So let's talk about your upbringing a little bit. You guys grew up in Draper, Utah. You both went to Corner Canyon High School. And you have two younger siblings, is that right?
Yeah.
Morgan and Ryan.
Morgan and Hudson.
Hudson. Where'd I get Ryan?
Ryan's our dad.
Oh, okay,
So,
that's where
yeah,
I got
there's
it.
a
I was like, I
connection.
swear I saw Ryan. Okay, Morgan and Hudson. So, Harrison, where did your love of sports begin when you were growing up?
I don't know. I've always played, whether it was like my parents putting me in soccer when I'm like 5 years old with all my friends. And then, I don't know, you get to a point where like all of your buddies are playing football. You're like, I want to play football. And then my dad played football in high school. And college opportunity he went a different way. Anyways. So I don't know. My dad kind of pushed me to play football. He was my coach all the way up till high school. And then we get to high school. And then she's doing sports too. She was more of like a gymnast, tumbler type person. And then I'm like, oh, you should try track. And then, yeah, shout out to Coach Kerr, our high school coach. He, track coach, football coach, kind of pushed us all in the right direction, which was fun.
So what all sports did you do?
In high school, I did the sprints, so 100, 200, the 4x1, 4x2, and then my coach had me in the 400. And then football. That was my high school sports.
Which I hear you're pretty dang fast. For like a big linebacker, I hear you got some speed. So are your guys' parents competitive at all?
Yeah, not as much as us, but...
Oh, you can't tell me the Sunday game nights don't go
crazy.
Okay,
that's true, but we all have a level of competitiveness. So
I feel like to have two Division I athletes, like the parents have to have a little bit of that in them,
Yeah,
whether they played themselves or not, they got to have that competitive nature. Maddie, did Harrison have an influence on you and your competitiveness growing up?
Oh, 100%. I mean, he honestly, freshman year, kind of forced me to go to track practice. I wasn't really sure what sports I wanted to do, so he kind of was like, "Hey, you got it, let's go." So he was kind of the reason I started doing track, and then from there, I just wanted to win and improve and this and that. So it was really kind of because of him that it all kind of started.
Wow. So Harrison, what did you see in Maddie where you're like, you got to do track?
I don't know. I just kind of wanted to beat her at something else, honestly.
True.
So it was more like, I'm doing track, so you should do track.
You've got to come to track just so I can still show you up in this too.
That is so funny. So you did gymnastics. What all sports did you do?
I just kind of bounced around and did everything up until high school, like volleyball, soccer, gymnastics, everything. And then kind of just fell into track and field and loved it. So
at what point were you like, I'm pretty good at this? I can maybe take this to the next level?
It was probably my sophomore year. I was like, okay, this is pretty fun. I'm kind of fast. I started to see some improvements, win a couple of races, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can be better at this. And then kind of just went up from there. So
Harrison, what was it like growing up with Maddie and being so close in age? And just one grade apart as well.
It was fun. There's always the sibling banters, you know what I mean? Everybody's like you said, we're super competitive. But it was really fun. Sometimes it made me upset to see what guys would take her on a date and stuff. But no, it was fun. And then the competitive aspect, obviously, we were running track together, that was super fun. Picking a university together, that was super fun. And now we're still one grade apart at a university, which is insane. It's all just cool and fun.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So was Harrison really protective of you?
Oh,
growing up?
100%. I'm pretty sure he would tell people to stay away or you can't talk to my sister.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Poor boyfriend.
It's one thing to have an older brother, but to have this big football star older brother.
Totally.
Little more intimidating,
yes,
I think.
Totally.
So did you guys, what are some of the things you have competed in outside of sports?
What do you mean?
You mean, because you mentioned your parents
Uno.
in board games.
Oh, Uno.
Or crazy.
Yes.
Uno's a big one.
Uno, any games we go play at the park or the high school or anything like that,
Yeah, spike ball, Monopoly deal.
Yeah, volleyball. There's a thing called volleyball where it's you're in a room playing volleyball and it's crazy how competitive we get.
So fun.
I love that so much. You both went to a French immersion school and you're fluent in French. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's pretty dang cool. Do you guys speak French with each other? Ever?
We used to. Kind of middle school, elementary, not so much anymore.
Because, I feel like Spanish is one. You can't, use that as your secret language because a lot of people know Spanish. Not as many people know French.
Yeah, isn't that
I feel like you guys
interesting?
are missing out on an opportunity to
Totally.
talk to each other.
Yeah.
How often do you use your French skills?
Honestly, not that much. I kind of fell away from it out of high school and I wouldn't really consider myself fluent anymore. Kind of, so I should use it more and I want to pick up it and take some classes here, but not as much as I should.
I'm sure you could pick it back up pretty quick.
Yeah, I think so.
If you got into it again. All right, Harrison, you were consensus top 40 linebacker out of high school. Got offers from some big programs like Oregon, Arizona, USC, but not BYU at that time. How did that feel for you?
I don't know. It was interesting. It was a different coaching staff than the defensive coaching staff now. So it's nothing to do with the defensive coaching staff now. But yeah, it was interesting. All my buddies were getting recruited by BYU. Some of them committed to BYU, still are here. And I didn't hear a thing from them. So I don't know. But
and you're like, do you know how good I am? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
I bet that was interesting. Maddie, from your perspective, Harrison then commits to Oregon, and he's out of here. And you guys are really close. So was that hard for you, having your brother live in another state and so far away?
Yeah, it was really hard. I mean, you get so busy with sports, and that's how he was his freshman year, so we didn't talk as much and kind of, weren't as close. So it was definitely difficult, but we were all happy for him. I mean, he was chasing his dreams, so.
Yeah. Did you guys stay in touch a lot?
Yeah, once a week, every other week. Okay. So.
Man, busy. Football's
so
busy, though.
And you don't realize, you're out in Oregon, during the season, your family comes and visits you, but, you don't see your family for, how long would you say, anywhere from 6 to 8 months. And
yeah.
Your teammates probably kind of become your family,
your
right?
team. And it was cool. That was one of the, BYU is a super home university. There's a bunch of Utah kids, a bunch of Arizona kids, a bunch of Cali kids. When I was at Oregon, we had Florida, Texas, Georgia, Cali, everybody from everywhere. So it was everybody's trying to kind of figure it out and figure out how to live by yourselves without your parents, if that makes sense. And you're trying to figure it out together, which was cool.
Was that something that influenced you when you made the decision to come back to BYU, is being around your actual family?
Yes, that was a huge part. And then stability. I mean, Kalani is BYU. You know what I mean? He had a bunch of opportunities to coach somewhere else, and he chose BYU. And yeah, it's just a huge family environment here on the team, but with my family close by too, it's super awesome.
At what moment did you realize, all right, I want to be at BYU? That's where I want to be.
After my visit, because I had the resentment. I was like, they didn't offer me in high school. What's their deal? Yada yada yada. And then I went on my visit and got taken around by Isaiah Banya, Isaiah Glasker, Ace Kafusi, and guys like that. I was like, oh, this is something I would really consider. And then I considered it, and here we are.
Next thing you know, you're a Cougar. I love it. Maddie, you had an amazing high school career with several championships under your belt. You were recruited by every in-state school. I was looking it up. I'm I don't think there's a school in-state that didn't offer her, which is so cool. What made you choose BYU?
I mean, the team's great, and the culture here at the university is amazing. And then, I mean, close to home, my family's been a huge part of just who I am. So those were kind of the three big things, and I mean, it worked out. I mean, I love it here. So,
Harrison, what's it been like watching your sister have so much success in her own athletic career?
Oh, it's been so cool. I know there's definitely the ups and downs. In high school, there was one time where she broke her foot falling over a hurdle, and then she posted on TikTok, and she's viral on TikTok
for real,
for falling over a hurdle. So,
oh my gosh,
I don't know, the ups and downs and watching people grow from the downs and overcoming things has been super cool for me to watch, and then just the success. I mean, I don't think she ever really who chooses to run for fun. You know what I mean? Not, no offense, but not a lot of people. So. I don't know. It's been kind of cool for me to watch her fall in love with it all the way back from freshman year in high school. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And just have fun with it.
It takes a special person to love running. It's
true.
Very true.
That's true.
It's very true. Maddie, the football players are kind of like the big men on campus, literally and figuratively, right? So what's been your favorite part about watching Harrison dominate on defense against some of the best players in the country, getting a huge sack against Colorado, Shadur Sanders in the bowl game? What's that been like for you to watch that?
Oh, it's so awesome. I mean, you have the student athlete section in the football games and stuff, and we're front row, so you can see everything. You can see after Harry has a great play, him huge smile bouncing around the field, and it everyone around me is cheering for him. Anytime he does something, it's oh, Maddie, he did that. And I'm let's go. It's just so fun.
Are you that's my brother?
I'm look at him. Let's go.
So cool. Harrison, you're known for some speed. So running sub 11 in the 100 meter with a personal best of 10.69. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's impressive for a linebacker. Maddie, you're also incredibly fast, especially in the hurdles. Where does your guys' speed come from? Do you guys know?
I mean,
Your mom and dad are probably going to be listening to this, just so you know.
I don't want to throw either parent into this because then it'll be a fight on Sunday about.
True.
No, I did. Yeah.
They'll both claim it was them. So
It was their genes.
Yeah.
It was a good mix of the two, maybe. How often did you guys race growing up, Maddie?
I mean, not that often. I mean, he would always claim that he could beat me
You're
in any
scared.
race. He's like, throw hurdles in there and I'll still win and stuff. So I don't think he's actually ever gone over a hurdle yet. So
You're scared.
I think you're scared. But really not that often. I mean, in football drills, I would try and beat him and things like that. But yeah.
I love that so much. How would you describe the influence your parents have had on how far you've both come in your athletic careers? We'll start with Harrison.
I got to give it all to my parents. I mean, from work ethic to loving the game to getting me through the athletic ups and downs, whether it's an injury or just like the mental side of things.
Mm-hmm.
They're always there supporting me no matter really what it is. If I need help in this area, if I need help in this area, it's like, how can I help you? How can I help you? Honestly, like sometimes it's like, holy cow, like I'm good. Like I can figure it out. You know what I mean? But I'd rather it be like, how can I help you? How can I help you? So they were honestly the most supportive parents in the world.
That's awesome. What about for you,
I
Maddie?
completely agree. I mean, they're the type of parents that will never, ever miss a sporting event. There's 4 of us, and it's like insane the amount of games and things that we have, but they are always there, no matter what. So definitely like my biggest motivators, and whenever I would need anything, like they would be there to help and go out on like other days and weekends to the track and just help me and really anything. So
I love, and there's probably no other place I'd rather be.
totally.
Now that I have kids of my own, like I get that a little bit. Like you just want to see your kids succeed, and when they're doing something they love, then you love that so much, and you just want to be there for that. Maddie, you mentioned paragliding in your bio. As something, did you do that once, or
I
is
did
it
it
something
once.
you do as a hobby? Okay,
No.
you just did it once.
Did it once. It was a like coincidence thing. I was just at this park and someone was like, "Want to go up paragliding?" I'm like, "What? Sure, let's do it." So
Where was your brother at that time to save you from making
It
that
was-
decision?
She was with all her friends too, and it's her birthday. Out of all things, this guy's like, "Can I take any of you paragliding?" They're like, "It's her birthday. It's her birthday." Like
Oh
she'll
my
do
gosh.
it. Just some random stranger taking
Yeah.
you thousands of feet up in the air.
yeah,
Like,
Pretty cool though.
it was fun. I mean, I would do it again.
Maybe not with a random stranger, but
Yeah, I mean, I would probably think that through a little bit more, but
that's awesome. And Harrison, you mentioned fishing. Are you guys a big outdoorsy family?
yeah, I love the outdoors, camping, hiking, going to the cabin. Not really when it's cold. I don't love the snow, but but yeah,
You
I
might
love
need to
the
move
outdoors.
somewhere else.
Yeah, so
However, we are like in the mid 60s right now, which is
It's
really
so
nice.
nice.
awesome
It's
in
crazy.
February. It's awesome.
I know it is. Maddie, what were some of your favorite family traditions that you guys had growing up?
I mean, Harry mentioned the cabin. We've got like this little cabin up in Oakley, Utah that we would spend all the time there. So one of my favorite things about that is the 4th of July. Growing up, we would go there and do a whole big rodeo. Like there was like the kids rodeo where we would catch chicken and greasy pigs and all that stuff. And I mean, honestly, got really competitive. Harry would always catch something and all that stuff. So that's probably my favorite, like just being there with the whole family, barbecues, hanging out. So
Did you like win prizes if you caught a
kept-
greasy pig,
You
or how did that
kept
work?
the pig.
You got to keep the
You
pig?
kept the. They literally there would be farmers that would hold it was probably like 5 or 6 pigs.
Yep.
And then there'd be like different age groups, probably like 8 to 10, 11 to 13, yada yada yada. And then ready, set, go. And it's just a
It's
dead
crazy.
sprint. Everybody's in their cowboy boots on the rodeo ground sprinting to tackle these greased up pigs. And then you catch it and you can
You get to keep it.
keep
Yep.
the pig. And my parents were like, "Oh, what are we going to do
Well,
with
that's
this
what I was
pig?"
just going to say. What did you do with the pig? Because she mentioned that you did catch some.
Yeah.
What did you guys do with it?
So we had family that lived up in Oakley and had rodeo, like farmland up there. So
Yeah.
we'd give it to them, or you would sell it, and there'd be people that wanted the pigs. But I'm not kidding. Like we came up like probably 8 months later to our grandma's house to see this pig, and this thing like
Oh, it's huge.
boom, like you're like, oh, this is a hog now, not just a pig.
Oh my gosh. So did you roast the pig, or are you guys the type you're like, oh, let's not
They
hurt
did.
it?
I think they made bacon.
They did.
And
I think
roasted
we
it.
got some of
Wow.
it later on, but we were too young to like.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that is so
Understand
funny.
that.
I love that so much. So for you, Harrison, what are some of your favorite family traditions that you guys had growing up?
Favorite family traditions. Christmas was always fun. We do Christmas Eve with my dad's mom, and then Christmas morning with my mom's parents, and then Christmas night with my dad's dad. I don't know. It was a lot of fun.
I love that.
Just being with your family, like, I don't know, we're so busy with sports, like, it's like the one, well, sometimes this year we were in Texas, but one day a year that you really get to hang out with your family and be with everybody.
Yeah, that's how it used to be, right? Before collegiate sports, now you don't know if you're going to be with your family on holidays.
Yeah, exactly. But
growing up in Draper, you guys are in split Ute and Cougar territory, right? Would you say it's kind of 50-50-ish?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so you were both recruited by Utah. Maddie, who did you guys grow up rooting for? You can be honest.
It was Utah.
Was it Utah?
It was.
Your parents?
both parents went to Utah, graduated from the University of Utah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you grew up too, Harrison, rooting for University of Utah.
Yeah, I don't dreamed of playing, would go to their football games, would love to go there, you know what I mean? Knew all those linebackers, yada, yada, yada. So
what was your parents' reaction from both of you when you told them you were coming to BYU?
A little bit shocked. I mean, they took all the car stickers off their car. That was a first.
Wow,
Yeah.
Those are good parents, because a lot of parents don't. That's hard to let go of, especially with your alma mater.
Yeah, and it's been interesting too. All of Dad's sweatshirts.
Oh yeah,
where did they all the Utah sweatshirts go?
They're gone.
Really?
Everything's BYU, and yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Full support.
I have to respect that. Because that would be very difficult to do. So they're all in.
Yeah.
They embrace BYU.
When we signed, they rushed down to the bookstore, bought a bunch of gear.
Yeah. Well, and you should have seen them at the Utah game after that. After the Will Ferrin 22-point kick. I guarantee my dad was screaming. My dad doesn't usually scream. He's usually the guy that's just sitting there with his head down, focusing on trying to understand every single play we're running. We're like, Dad, you don't know what we're doing, But then all of a sudden, there's a video of him, and he's probably the loudest guy in the stadium, just erupting.
Awesome.
So
that is so cool. All right, well, let's talk about that. In football, the Utah game is always a big emotional event, obviously. Harrison, how would you describe what that game at Rice Eccles was like?
It was insane. Because I grew up going to those games, being one of those Utah fans, and Utah fans kind of pride themselves. Maddie will talk more about the fans after this, but they kind of pride themselves in being the rowdy fan base.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus BYU, it's more of a chill.
Here's your ice cream. Here's your
here's your
trying
cougar
to be
tail.
really kind. Here's your cougar tail.
Here you go, visitors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was rowdy. It was insane. I literally have dreamed about playing that rivalry game for your whole entire life. You know what I mean? That game is a huge game in the state of Utah. And then you get there and it's surreal. You take the field for the first time and it's just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just kind of an out-of-body experience a little bit.
Did you have a little more of a chip on your shoulder for that game?
Oh, definitely. And there's definitely a lot more aggression, a lot more things that shouldn't be said to each other in that game, from player to player. Yeah, it's crazy. It is so crazy. And having friends on both teams, you grow up with all these guys.
Right.
And then, like you said, growing up in Draper, it's split. So I had, how many people up there? 5, 6 dudes on that team. And then a bunch of buddies on this BYU team. It was fun.
That's crazy.
It was so fun.
As long as you can shake hands after, I mean, that's tough to do, though, too. especially after that specific game.
Ooh, yeah.
Maddie, does the rivalry translate to track and field? Because it's a different dynamic, right? So how do you view it from your sport?
I mean, it's definitely different because we're more of an individual sport, but obviously it's BYU Utah. We're better than them. We always we have to win, so it's still there, just not as extreme.
So he said you have some stories about the fans.
Oh, that game was nuts. Yeah, so I was there. I went down with a couple of my friends, and you're just walking through the stadium. Everywhere you go, you're getting things chanted in your face, people saying stuff, and you're like, I'm just trying to get to my seats.
Yeah.
And then I went up and sat by my parents and stuff, and we're in the parent section, and Utah fans are coming up there chanting things
like the big poly dudes that like threw that one kid down the stairs,
throwing people, knocking people over, like chanting things in like people's parents' faces. I'm like, what is happening?
It just makes it so much better.
You gotta love it a little bit though. Like,
yeah, there was some guy that came up to my little brother. I mean, he's 14 years old and like got up in his face and he's like, what do you want me to do? Yeah.
Oh man, it's a good time. It really
love
is.
It.
True.
Having both chosen BYU and Harrison, you were at Oregon previously. What stands out to you about the uniqueness of BYU and what it represents now that you're here?
It's different seeing two completely different universities. Yeah, BYU is different, but it is a good different, if that makes sense. Just the family aspect of BYU as a whole, as a university, you know what I mean? Everybody, hey, how's it going? How's it going? Can I get the door for you? You know what I mean? And then the academic side of things, like you're pushing yourself on the field and you're pushing yourself to the max on the field. But I haven't really realized how hard you have to push yourself in the classroom to get that A, to get the grade you want. You know what I mean? Like, I've been studying for this stupid anatomy test for...
He's bringing up the anatomy test.
Yeah.
It really must be top of mind.
It's coming tomorrow. But yeah, I don't know. BYU is a unique place, and there is, I'd argue, nowhere on the planet that is like this. Partly because of the religious aspect, but partly because of the independent university, where it's a private university, and you have to have a certain standard to get into this university.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Would you say the academics was probably the biggest difference between when you were at Oregon coming to BYU?
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
And that makes you appreciate student athletes so much more when you hear stuff like that. The ones specifically at BYU, and maybe Stanford could be like a good, a
good comparison
to BYU. But I just can't even imagine. I think it's amazing what you guys are able to do.
We'll go home to I don't live with football guys, but I'll go home to my roommates, and they're complaining about I have this assignment. I don't know if I have enough time to do this. I'm like,
you just
what do
stare
you mean?
at them.
I'm like, oh,
you have no idea, man.
Yeah.
Maddie, you're part of one of the best track and field programs in the country here at BYU. What does it mean to you to be able to represent the Cougars?
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, everyone knows, like, the team. Everyone knows everyone. And it's, like, amazing just to be surrounded by such great people. I mean, yesterday I'm in the office and Connor Mance, the Olympians, right next to me, and Kenneth Rooks and all of Coach Taylor's girls, and same with, like, the sprint squad. Like, everywhere you go, you're surrounded by, like, the most amazing people. And, like, we're all just there supporting each other, too. There's no, like, tension or anything. Everyone's just, like, here to have fun and reach, like, as far as you can, you know?
So cool. I'm here with siblings and athletes, Madelynne and Harrison Taggart. You guys are incredible. I appreciate you taking the time, and good luck in your respective seasons.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Madelynne and Harrison Taggart for coming on the show with me. Tori Kimball helped produce this episode with senior producer Terry South. You can join the Royal Legacy wherever you get your podcasts, on Apple, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, or on BYURadio.org. Royal Legacy is a production of BYU Broadcasting.